Well, hello there. It's me, Stu, here for you. And the question I'm answering today is, will your membership site idea work? Before you go into all of the energy and effort of creating a membership, it's certainly helpful to know whether you are on the right track and whether your market is going to respond to your membership idea. Well, I can tell you, after working with tens of thousands of different membership site owners in all kinds of different markets, there are 5 key reasons that people will join a membership. And that's exactly what I'm going to outline here for you today. So, as we go through here, one of the things I want you to remember is that if you answer yes to any one of these key indicators, then you're on the right track and you should absolutely move forward. Thank you for that, Tracy. I appreciate that. Yes, today is my birthday and I'm coming to you to share what I love most, which is all things membership sites. And so thank you for that. So let's get into this. What makes a great membership? And specifically, how do we know if people are going to join a membership? Well, here's the thing. There are all kinds of different examples of memberships, whether they're physical product memberships, whether they're service-based memberships, whether they're knowledge-based memberships, that's the most common, or whether they're community-based memberships. And all of these, no matter what market they're in, they share common characteristics and traits. That's what I really want to outline for you here today, because what is most important is that you get clear on the primary reason that somebody is going to join your membership. That influences the way in which you market the membership. It influences the way in which you create content for the membership. It certainly influences the experience that your members are going to have and therefore the retention that your membership will have. So getting clear on the primary reason that somebody is joining your membership, it influences so many decisions. So in what I'm going to unpack here for you today are the 5 reasons that somebody will join a membership. And thank you guys. I appreciate you in the comments. So here's the deal. Reason number 1 that somebody is going to join a membership is that they have a need. Now, a need could emerge from something like an ongoing problem that they're experiencing. And there are many examples of memberships that, would fit into this bucket. A good example would be like a weight loss membership, right? So when I think of Jason and his membership, he's helping women lose weight. That's an ongoing problem. That's a need that they have. And the benefit of that is that, many times, losing weight, you're not going to lose it overnight, right? You're not going to go from, overweight to the perfect weight like that, right? That's an ongoing problem. And so that need creates a great membership. Another example that would fall into this bucket. Let's say you've got a bad relationship and the need is that you want to improve that relationship, right? You want to go from a messy marriage to an amazing marriage. You want to go from no bond with your kids or feeling distant with your kids to having an amazing relationship with your kids. Or you might go from not having a partner, right, in life to finding your soulmate. And there's so many great examples of this. Or you might go from having a dog that is wildly out of control to a dog that's the perfect puppy. Okay, so these are examples of solving an ongoing problem that comes from a need. That's the first reason that somebody will join. You guys are amazing in the comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the kind words. Okay, second reason that somebody would join a membership is that they're looking to master a set of skills, right? Okay, so many examples of memberships that fall into this bucket. We think of, memberships like in the art space. And, there are so many incredible people in our tribe community who are artists who are teaching different styles of art in their memberships. I think of Michelle Lloyd. I think of, Tamara Bennett, who, Tamara's membership, she teaches people how to paint decorative door hangers. These are all examples of different art, but this is a skill, right? People are joining the memberships because they're looking to master a skill. And again, you're not going to go from not having the skill to have mastered the skill like that. That takes time, which is what makes it a perfect fit for a membership. And of course, there are many different mastery type memberships, whether it's, art, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's business. There are all kinds of buckets that fall into this. One of my favorites is Holly George, who teaches people how to create balloon animals, right? And again, you're not going to go from not knowing how to do balloon animals to have mastered, all kinds of different balloon animals like that. That's what makes it a great membership. And so again, it doesn't matter like how, what market you're in. If you're teaching people a skill, the value in the membership comes from learning how to master those skills. And the key mistake often people make in this bucket is they think that because they've taught something one time, that people therefore no longer have a need to be part of a membership. Well, that's just not true, because how many of us have heard something, but yet haven't mastered what we heard, right? Mastery takes time. This is what makes it a perfect scenario for a membership. So first reason that somebody will join is because they have a need. Second reason that people will join is because they are looking to master a topic. Third reason that people will join is because they're craving community, right? And oh my gosh, more so now than ever before. I literally yesterday got a Instagram message from a woman who launched her membership last year, 1 year ago from now, this month. And she's had success with it. It's grown and she's done really well. In fact, she's done phenomenal. She has gotten it up to, more than $50,000 a month in recurring revenue. But she said to me, Stu, I don't know anybody else who is running a membership. I don't know anybody else who I can talk to about, getting more members in or keeping my members. She's like, I feel isolated and lonely. She's like, I just want to be part of a group of other business owners where this is their focus. She's craving community. And this happens all over the place. I remember when I owned a Mini Cooper, and I loved connecting with other Mini Cooper owners. In fact, I remember vividly, going on like this car rally in the summer, and we, all the literally hundreds and hundreds of us in Mini Coopers all came together, and then we were all going down the streets and down the highway, and then we all ended up in this big outdoor movie theater, and we watched the movie The Italian Job, which was epic because like when the minis were all racing through the streets, all of us in the audience sitting in our Mini Coopers were all like, we're all honking. But this is all community, right? It's all community. So one of the key things that's interesting about the online space is that now more than ever, if you have an interest in a topic or a subject matter, and in your, home community, so to speak, you're the only one you can feel lonely. But what is amazing about the internet is that now it connects us with others who share similar interests. And now we no longer feel that sense of loneliness. Now we get to feel part of a greater community. And this was no more true than a few years ago. My wife and I, we were living in a really small community, and there were not very many entrepreneurs in the online space whatsoever. In fact, most of the business owners in the little town that we lived in were all, brick and mortar shops, and very few did anything online. So when we'd have conversations or when we'd come to local community meetings, we felt very foreign. In fact, we were kind of made fun of one time because we were invited to come and speak at a conference that was local to our area. And one of the questions that they asked was, what do you love most about your business model? And one of the things that we shared was that, it allows us to be able to reach more people than ever before. And it also allows us to, tap into talent pools of people all around the world. And then literally the very next person who was right after me, when he answered that question, he said, well, what I love most is that we hire local. And everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then what was ironic though, was the very next question that they asked the panel was, what is one of the most challenging parts of running your business? And the same guy that, was doing the whole local thing, he said, one of the most challenging parts in my business is finding quality talent that I can hire. I was like, oh my gosh, like, does nobody see the irony here? But this is my point. Like, it was so frustrating because my wife and I were feeling like, we were on an island, so to speak, because we were the only ones in our local area that were running an online business. I share this with you because the way in which people feel part of a bigger community is when they can find and connect with others just like them who have shared interests, who are on a similar journey. So there's tremendous value in being able to create communities around a shared interest, around shared value. This is the reason why, we have invested in being part of memberships and community, online communities of other entrepreneurs who are in the online space, right? That's where we get the community. So creating community is another big reason why people will join us, because they want to feel part of something that they're passionate about. Okay, so number 1 was need. Number 2 was mastery. Number 3 was community. Number 4 is kind of a bunch of things. I bucketed this as they have a want, or it's like a luxury item, right? Like they have a desire, like a want or a desire. Let's just put it that way. They have a want or desire. Typically, in this bucket, you're going to find box subscriptions. A lot of times box subscriptions are where you are sending like something of the month, right? Obviously, this was popularized by the Dollar Shave Club that started with just razors. So they recognized that it was a real pain in the butt to go and get new razors on a regular basis, and yet people need new razors on a regular basis. So what they did is they flipped the whole business model upside down and turned it into a subscription, where now you subscribe and they automatically send you new razors each and every month. Now, there's a whole, certainly strategy around how to do that successfully. But bottom line is what they were tapping into was a want or a desire to make the customers' lives easier, right? Like the customers didn't want to have to go through the painstaking process of going to a store, and usually the razors are all locked up in a special thing. You got to go ask somebody to get them, and it's like a whole pain in the butt. They recognized that people didn't want that anymore. What they wanted was the convenience of being able to just get the razors when they needed it. This is why box subscriptions have just flourished and taken off. You also see oftentimes like different memberships that, again, may not be teaching anybody anything, but they're providing things on a regular basis that make life easier. And many examples of this. A good one is Paul Evans, who has the membership Teen Life Ministries. He's not teaching youth ministers how to be a better youth minister. What he's doing is he's providing a presentation that the youth ministers can use, make a couple tweaks, and deliver in their Sunday sermon. He's making their life easier. So in this want and desire category, what you got to remember is that like these aren't necessarily where you're teaching somebody something or you're helping them improve a problem or so forth. But what you're really doing is you're making their life easier. You're creating convenience for them. So physical, subscription boxes tend to fall into this bucket. Memberships that are centered around like templates or resources, much like Paul Evans, Teen Life Ministries, where he's delivering that, template presentation. I've seen other examples of this, like Jasmine Starr has a great membership where the social curator, where she's providing like, templates and resources for people in terms of how to deliver their social media on a regular basis. So it's a package of content. Or many teachers in our tribe community have created, amazing memberships where they're providing teachers a package of lessons that they can just deliver inside the class. Bottom line is this category is where you're making somebody's life easier or more convenient. Okay, so we've got need, mastery, community, want or desire, and the fifth one is entertainment. Now, I got to tell you, this final category is a difficult one, because in the entertainment space, this is where you're, essentially like competing against, companies like Netflix, as an example. Like Netflix would fall into this category, right? So people aren't there necessarily to learn anything. People aren't there to solve a problem. They're not really there for, to be part of the community. It might fall into the want desire bucket, but not really, because it's not really convenient. Well, it is kind of convenience in a way, but really the prominent reason that people are subscribed to Netflix is because they want to be entertained. But usually entertainment-based memberships require a whole lot of investment to continuously create new forms of entertainment. Now, with that said, I have seen some memberships successfully emerge in this category. They were from like professional comedians, professional musicians who had a fan base. And what they did was they essentially continued to provide their, stand-up comedy or their, concerts for their fans. And it was, part of an ongoing membership. In fact, I subscribed to a membership that was delivered by U2. U2 is like one of my favorite all-time bands. And so they had a membership, and I should probably check on that. I don't know if they continue to do it, but I subscribed years ago to it. Maybe I'm still paying for it. I don't know. But it gave all kinds of benefits, and then they'd give behind-the-scenes videos when they were on their concert tour, and they'd give updated releases of songs like before they would release to the public, all kinds of stuff like that. So it was definitely more based around entertainment. So it can be done. I've also seen bloggers who have done this successfully. I've seen YouTubers do this successfully where they may have a great YouTube show, and then they provide like a behind the scenes or a backstage pass, like as part of a membership. So there are ways to do it. But what I will tell you is it is a little more difficult to do an entertainment-based membership. However, if you have said yes, that, number one, you could see yourself solving an ongoing problem, so you can, fall into that need bucket. Or number two, you could see yourself teaching people a skill, so you're helping them master a particular topic. Or number three, you could see yourself providing or creating a community for your audience around a topic or subject. Or number four, you could see yourself, helping people as far as they have a want or desire, like creating more convenience for them. Or number five, you could see yourself, providing some form of entertainment. If you've said yes to any one of those, you're in a great place, because that's a great sign of a market that would be very receptive for a membership. And there's many examples of this. I think of like Wendy Batten, okay? So Wendy Batten, she's not operating in a huge market. She's operating in a market that's really tiny, and she serves and helps paint store retailers. These are stores that are selling paint. Now, not a huge market, but what are they looking to do? They're looking to master a skill of growing their retail shop. And so she's been able to serve them and continue to grow her membership. I think of like Rhonda Nelson. So Rhonda Nelson is a naturopath. She helps naturopathic healthcare practitioners. And again, a very specific market, but what is she helping them do? She's helping them grow their practice. So that's a skill. I think of Holly George, I mentioned earlier, with the balloon animals, right? That's a skill. I think of like Anna DiGilio. She provides lesson plans for teachers. So that falls under that want desire, bucket where she's creating more convenience for them. So these are all examples, and there are many, many, many different examples in this world of, memberships that fall into different categories. My kids have just come home. Do you want to come say hello?
Happy 41st birthday.
Okay, you don't have to tell the world how old I am. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's helped give you some perspective in terms of, is your market that you're looking to enter, or perhaps you're in, would it be a good fit for a membership? If you said yes to any one of those categories, then, my friends, that's a very good, healthy sign to be able to move forward with your membership idea. Look at all of you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for sharing. You guys are hilarious. Thank you for your kind words and your birthday greetings. I appreciate that. So hopefully today has given you some clarity to be able to move forward with your membership idea, and keep us posted as you do. Of course, if you've got more questions, I want to encourage you to go and download our free guide. If you haven't got it yet, go to gettribeguide.com. And the reason is because in this, I answer some of our top questions. I'm just going to find the URL here for you. 1 second. Let me bring that up Boom, boom, boom. Where the heck is it? Okay, hang on. It is. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. So if you have more questions about, should I start a membership? How do I get going with my membership? How do I get my membership to the next level? I want you to go and download this free guide. You can see I've put the URL below, gettribeguide.com. Essentially, for the last 12 plus years, I have been helping tens of thousands of business owners create a membership around the things that they already know, love, and do. And every single day, I get asked questions over and over and over about how to do this successfully. We compiled the top 10 questions that I get asked, and I gave detailed answers in this guide, along with a whole bunch of examples of other successful memberships. So you can kind of see and begin to envision like how yours might come to play. It's all free. Just go download gettribeguide.com. That's all for today, my friends. Thank you for coming to join me, and I'll be back next week with some more amazingness all around. Oh, yeah. Hey, we go. Hey. Sam, you want to come say it?
And also my dad's 41.
Okay. All right. Oh, the kids, they want to tell everybody how old I am. All right. Have yourself a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.